Imagine stepping back into a world where the laws of nature seemed to bend, where animals had strange powers, where mystical cities vanished overnight, and where people swore they saw impossible things. It's a world described in vivid, sometimes unbelievable detail by Roman historians who were convinced they were seeing the strange and the supernatural with their own eyes. But what if these tales were true? Welcome back to Historical Veils. Today, we're diving into some of the strangest, most mysterious accounts from ancient Roman historians. Now, we're talking about people who had seen just about everything: battles, gods, strange beasts, and exotic lands. But even for them, there were things that they just couldn't explain. And it's here, in these dusty scrolls, that we uncover stories that blur the line between myth and reality. Our journey begins with one of the most captivating legends: the Amazons. Imagine a society where women ruled, fought, and thrived without men, known for their fierce independence and strength. Historians like Strabo and Herodotus spoke of these warrior women who were said to live far beyond the borders of the empire, in lands mysterious and wild. The Amazons were raised to fight, to hunt, and to defend their territory with brutal skill. Now, you might be wondering, did these Amazons really exist? Could such a society of fierce warrior women thrive in the ancient world? Some scholars believe these stories were inspired by Scythian tribes, where women indeed fought alongside men. Artifacts, graves, and weapons have even been found to support this. But for the Romans, the Amazons were more than a historical reality. They were almost mythical, representing the fear and respect for the unknown. So, when the Romans wrote about these powerful women, were they just honoring an impressive people, or were they warning themselves of what lay beyond their reach? The Romans were not just captivated by distant societies, but by strange creatures that defied belief. Pliny the Elder, one of the most famous Roman naturalists, described creatures that sound like they belong in a horror movie. There were reports of the Cynocephali, a tribe of dog-headed people who barked instead of spoke, and supposedly lived in lands beyond Rome's knowledge. Now, if we dig into these stories, we can wonder, were they merely tales to entertain or terrify, or could they have a grain of truth? Modern interpretations suggest these accounts might have originated from sightings of people with unusual masks or tribal markings that looked animalistic. But there's something else that makes you pause. These stories were not confined to Rome. Dog-headed creatures appear in other cultures too, in ancient Egyptian, Indian, and Greek records. Could it be that distant lands held secrets that we're only just beginning to understand? And here's the question that keeps us on the edge. If they didn't see these creatures, why would they have created such detailed, similar stories across cultures? Or maybe, just maybe, there's a truth buried in the myth. Moving on from strange animals to the world of giants. Yes, giants. Romans spoke of monstrous beings who stood far taller than any human they knew. Imagine soldiers, hardened by war, meeting these so-called giants in battle, or even just seeing them from afar. The sight alone would be enough to shake their confidence. Tacitus and Pliny the Elder both wrote of regions where giants were said to live, describing them as towering figures with almost superhuman strength. To Romans, these giants weren't just taller than average humans. They symbolized something else, perhaps the uncharted, dangerous, and mystical lands beyond their borders. And while we know today that some human populations can grow exceptionally tall, to a Roman, these tales would be proof that not everything in the world could be conquered. Now imagine for a moment, what if you, as a Roman soldier, stumbled upon one of these beings? What if these giants were more than just rumors? Or did the Romans perhaps unearth bones of ancient animals like mammoths and mistake them for the remains of giant humans? The deeper we go, the more we wonder if the Romans truly knew something we don't. One of the most unsettling aspects of Roman life was their deep belief in omens and supernatural events. Imagine rivers turning red, eclipses casting eerie shadows, and strange shapes appearing in the sky. Roman historians documented such events with an intensity that feels almost like a warning or a cry for help. One chilling story takes us back to 218 BCE, when a rain of stones supposedly fell on Rome. To the Romans, this wasn't just a bizarre weather event, it was a terrifying sign from the gods. Omens like this were believed to foretell great events, often violent ones. In this case, It supposedly predicted Rome's wars with Carthage, a conflict that would shake the very foundations of the Republic. Today, we might explain such phenomena as volcanic ash, meteors, or other natural events, but to the Romans, these were messages from the divine. The fact that these events were recorded in such detail shows how deeply they affected Roman society and influenced decisions at the highest levels. Imagine the fear of seeing these omens and wondering if the gods were about to unleash wrath upon your city. So, did they understand the science behind these events, or were they sensing something else, something we can't fully explain even now? One legend that has persisted through the ages is that of a fountain of youth, a miraculous spring that could heal the sick and even grant eternal youth. Roman historians wrote about such places existing in distant lands, and while it might sound fantastical, the Romans weren't alone in this belief. Ancient travelers from different civilizations spoke of hidden springs with waters that could cure ailments or prolong life. Could there really have been a spring with healing properties, hidden away in a secret location? Or was it more of a metaphor, a reflection of human desire for immortality? To the Romans, this fountain was more than just a fairy tale. It was a testament to their hope and fascination with life beyond death. Today, we understand that mineral springs can indeed offer health benefits, but the Romans took it further, investing it with spiritual and supernatural significance. Think about this. Would you, if given the chance, drink from such a fountain, not knowing the cost? The Romans believed the waters held magic. Maybe, just maybe, they weren't entirely wrong. No account of Roman wonders would be complete without mentioning their records of extraordinary animals. Among these were creatures like the unicorn, an elegant, horned beast that was believed to be impossible to capture. In Rome, the unicorn symbolized purity, strength, and a deep connection with nature's mysteries. Descriptions of the unicorn even appeared in Roman natural histories, lending a sense of credibility to these accounts. The unicorn's mystery wasn't simply about whether it existed, but what it represented, a creature of impossible beauty that could only be tamed by a virtuous person. To the Romans, this wasn't just a fantasy, it was a powerful symbol. And then we have the phoenix, a bird unlike any other. The phoenix was believed to die in a burst of flames, only to be reborn from its ashes, a cycle that spoke to the Romans about life, death, and renewal. It was a story that gave hope, showing them that even after the darkest times, rebirth was possible. Today, scientists speculate that accounts of these creatures might have been inspired by sightings of exotic animals or misinterpretations of fossils. But to the Romans, the unicorn and phoenix were real symbols, almost as real as any living creature. Perhaps they represent a truth that's hard to find in the rational world, the belief that there are mysteries in life that transcend the physical. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history's strangest tales. Don't forget to subscribe to Historical Veils for more stories that bring the past to life.